Hello, hola, bonjour. Tune in every Tuesday to the Dear God podcast.
¿Y qué pasó?
Nah, we talking like it's 1995. Let go of that Wi-Fi. Let's laugh and cry, but never say goodbye. Primos y Primas, ¿qué lo que? And welcome, bienvenidos to the Dear God, Are We There Yet? The podcast con tu prima favorita. Soy Alicia, and yes, this podcast is bilingual. Ahora, Dear God, in this context, for my movement is whatever or whomever you want it to be. It can be the universe, religious God, Buddha, self, nature, lo que sea para ti. Dear God, Are We There Yet? Is a lifestyle community of question seekers. You see, the goal is simple. It's to empower thought-provoking conversations, share happiness, and encourage each of us to never stop asking questions and having conversations that matter. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel where I talk about self-growth, budgets and business, and passion to empower. Ahora vamos a hablar like it's 1995. I am so excited. It's a new year, and I have an amazing guest today, something actually I'm very passionate about as well, because I have a family member that experienced this. But before I even get into all this shenanigans, quiero presentarle a Carmen Tribbett, and she is an author. And you know what? I'm not even going to speak more about you. I want you to go ahead and tell a little bit about yourself to our audience.
I am old. I am 87, and I'm on my fifth career. I was a nurse and a teacher, and this is my fifth career at this age, and it's been really, really fun to do something different and new.
I love it. I love it. You're not old. Why do you say that you're old? You're not old. Tú no eres vieja. Why do you say you're old? Do you feel it?
No.
Okay,
no,
exactly.
In fact, I even went to Europe last June. So, and I kept up with everyone. So, no, I don't feel old, but I know that I'm going to be 88 in March. So.
Oh, well, you have a birthday coming up. First of all, I commend you, because it's not just about your age, but it's also about your drive. You said this is your fifth, like your fifth career change. Tell me about that, like, because you're an author, and I want you to tell a little bit about the monster dog. It's a small dog with a big heart, learns about Alzheimer's disease. And I want to kind of like shift into that, because I actually lost my grandmother last December to Alzheimer's. And it's crazy that when we were at the funeral, the children were like, they didn't know, but they knew, but they didn't really know what it was. So I kind of want to ask you, like, what inspired you to even write about this?
I was inspired to write about this because my husband, Ken, who was a very bright man with a very excellent job. He was a machine designer for the corn company, and he had Alzheimer's for 18 years. He had 2 years with dementia, and then we lived very close to the Mayo Clinic, and so they found out later, 2 years later, that my husband had Alzheimer's, and that it was in the temporal lobes of his brain. Therefore, he did not have that terrible personality change, but he had this long life. We had this long life together with Alzheimer's. And my husband's a very sweet man, and his person is a quiet man and a funny man, and his personality never really changed. He just got quieter and quieter and more into himself. And so, since I had been a teacher and a nurse, it seemed appropriate to me to write a book about Alzheimer's. And I used children. I used to see children, and I could tell they were confused and didn't understand what was happening with their loved one. Therefore, I decided to use the story of our dog, Ken's dog, in the story. I actually felt led to write this book, and I hope it will be helpful to both children and caretakers.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I love how you connected with the little dog, because dogs are just, whereas our humans are their best friends. But my thing is, which I want to ask you, is that connection of writing a story. Like, I want to know a little bit more about it, as far as like, what do you want to take from this? Like, what do you want people to take from this? Do you want them to understand more about the disease, or how to deal with it, or like the transition, like what do you want people to take from this? Because I have a lot of listeners, and I know this is a huge thing because every time I ask someone, and for people that are listening, I'll try to translate. La autora ella está escribiendo de algo bien importante en nuestra vida. Tú sabes que todo el mundo sabe que mi abuelita murió de esto el año pasado, que se le olvidaban las cosas. Y los niños no saben. Alguna vez tú dices, mamá se le está olvidando esto y no sabe. And it's like, how do you explain that to a child? But what do you want to leave? What is your goal for your book as far as for people to get?
Well, through this small dog story, I hope to comfort children by helping them realize, as the dog Tassie says, the person you lose might forget you in their mind, but will always remember you in their heart. And that's the theme of the book.
I love that. I love that. So you were were you a nurse with children in the, pediatrics?
No, I taught public school when I was young, and then I retrained as a nurse and taught nursing. I taught skills in the nursing lab. And, and then, of course, I worked in the hospital, but not with children.
Okay. So you just came up with this character. Now, I want to talk about your other upcoming books and the inspiration behind those, that you have some other upcoming books, correct? Can you tell us like a little bit about them, and where can people go ahead and buy them or look at them? And I know you have one coming up really soon. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, I have one coming out in January and one in the spring. The book in January is about a small dog with a big attitude. This is the first book I wrote, and it's being republished and improved upon. And it's for children that are maybe 4 years old, and they just absolutely love the book. And the dog has a very big attitude all the way through, which is true. There's nothing in there that isn't true. And then the third book will be out in the spring, and this is my favorite one, and it's Dear Diary, written for more like 10-year-olds. And she's very naughty, and she tells her secrets, and I never catch on. And so the storyline contains, ha, 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 I fooled her again, and I never catch on anything that she does. So it's between her and her diary, and children will love it because it's about secrets.
Yes, they will. Now, reading, hearing you and seeing all your success and stuff, especially coming from multiple generations and coming into this generation, what are you seeing that's completely different? I mean, now I know this is your fifth career change and you've done different things before, but we're in a total different generation from when you were their upbringing. Tell me, like, does it make you like crazy? Do you see something that you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this? Do you feel like you're writing something for, like you said, a 10-year-old, but you have to maybe use a more mature language? Like, what is your thought process? Because it's a totally different generation.
I don't know. I have cultivated the friendship of many younger people, so I'm not spaced out about the way they talk or what they do. I just enjoy them.
So so that basically when you're writing, writing these stories, you just based on your fact, like whatever is the topic you want, like attitudes and stuff. Like you don't go on there and say, well, she has an attitude, that means she's, bossy, but, you turn it into, no, that means she's a good leadership. Like, do you ever feel like you have to watch your words or maybe add something? Or
my son reads my books before they're published, and he changes some of the words, like to make them be more accurate for the day. I use words that I would have used 40 years ago, which have a different meaning now. And so my son knows those things and keys me in on that. So there is that difference.
Oh my God. I love that you used, the monster dog as a continued inspiration. I talk about a lot in this podcast, and for everybody listening, dear God, what's my route for 2020? And how inspiring is Carmen with her career, her life, and her ideas. I mean, one inspiration comes the first thing in my mind, because you're inspiring other people to say, hey, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you've done in your past. It doesn't matter where you're going. It doesn't matter any of that. You can still be inspired to do something and change. And then you're leaving like a legacy, Carmen. I mean, you're leaving a legacy from your husband, from your experiences. Like, this is something that I'm so happy you're on my podcast. En todo el mundo escuchando, la inspiración es bien importante porque no importa qué edad tú tienes. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's leaving those simple gestures, and of course, community. Do you have any plans of doing anything local? I know you're from Minnesota. Woo-woo! I used to live in Minnesota, so I have my heart there. But are you doing anything local in Minnesota?
Yes.
Upcoming?
Yes, in our town, I have been speaking at, not necessarily reading the book, but speaking at the senior center about how to deal with a patient or a person in your family who has Alzheimer's. And I will be going out to a senior center at the end of January. And then locally, we are going to go to Rochester, which is 50 miles away.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland and Noble and so forth. So, and once to Redmond, which is 100 miles away. And so, yes, I do those things. I have going to speaking engagement in April here in our town. And
oh my God.
I try to do teaching as opposed to just reading my book.
You are a busy woman. I love it. That's great. I'm going to put all the information actually down to the links for everybody so you can purchase the book and also check if you are in the Minnesota area. I'm going to put that information on the bottom as well. There's just one question I want to ask you before we finish our podcast today, something a little fun. So let's see here. What would be your superwoman power if you had one? What would it be?
My secret woman power?
You're a superwoman. Like, if you had a superwoman power, what would it be?
Just to care about people.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I love that. I love that. Well, you do already have your superwoman power because you're doing these books and you're inspiring everyone. I know for sure I'm definitely going to check this book out for myself. And I definitely going to connect you with someone in Albert Lea, a really, really good connect that I think that you could, spread this inspiration and then spread this within the Albert Lea community. So I will go ahead and send that to you as well. But thank you everyone for listening to the podcast today. When we are thinking about 2020 and this new generation and where there's this new decade, we're constantly asking ourselves about our goals and our this and we got to do that. But Carmen said something so simple. Her superpower is just caring about people. And it doesn't cost anything about caring. It doesn't cost anything to care about people or to be kind. So until next time, you guys, muchísimas gracias. Keep tuning in every single Tuesday to the Dear God, Are We There Yet? The podcast. Carmen, thank you so much. Kirsten, I love you. Thank you so much. And we will speak to you soon. Until next time, have a good one. Bye, you guys. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Kirsten.
Bye.
Bye-bye.